Hi guys, welcome to my channel and to my Back to Beauty No Buy year. This year I'm concentrating on using my makeup and not buying it. Today I'm using my makeup to bring to you my capsule makeup collection for spring. These are all the products that I cannot wait to use this spring. They make me think of spring. They give me spring makeup vibes, so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and get right into it. I am wearing quite a few of these products today. I tried to put as many of them on my face as I could without looking cake-faced. But let's go ahead and start with foundation. Once spring rolls around, I'm definitely looking for something lighter, less coverage, and just really comfortable to wear. And for me, that is the NYX BB cream. I have mine in the shade Natural number 2, and this is a fabulous product. I do like to set it down with a powder, but when I do, it absolutely doesn't move on me throughout the day. How I like to do foundation, and this is probably bass-ackward for some of you, but in winter I tend to go for a little bit more of a full coverage foundation. I think it's because when I'm at my palest, more of my impurities, if you will, are present or visible. And then as I go through the year and I get more and more color to my skin, those blemishes and what have you are less obvious when my skin is slightly darker. So in the winter, I tend to use something a little bit more medium coverage, and as spring rolls around, I want a light coverage BB cream. And by the time we get to summer, spoiler alert, I won't be wearing any foundation at all. It doesn't do anything for me to wear foundation during the summer because I would just sweat it off. And I actually like I said, my skin deepening a little bit. Of course, I wear sunscreen every day, but there is still a natural deepening of the skin in the warmer months if you spend any amount of time in the sun, which I do. So NYX BB cream, long preamble to say this is my foundation pick for spring.
Next, let's talk bronzer.
Let's talk bronzer. And for spring, my pick is the number 7 Match Made bronzer in the shade Caramel. Looks like this, and it is the bronzer that I'm wearing today. I like a matte bronzer in spring, and this is a very subtle but buildable bronze, if you will. I also really like this one for winter time because, like I said, it is very subtle, but it's also buildable to be used throughout the year. This is just the one that I tend to reach for spring because it is more subtle.
How many times can I say the same thing? Ooh.
All right, so for blush, let's talk cream blush. I am so excited to tell you about this. The first cream blush I have is actually in my birthday era project pan. This is the Ulta Lip and Cheek Color Stick in the shade Punchy. I'm gonna have swatches up here for you for everything. Except for the lippies, I'll probably swatch those live. And then the next one was a very kind gift from my girl Angela from Beauty by Angela, and it's the L'Oreal Infallible Longwear Shaping Stick Blush in the shade Sexy Flush. This is so pretty, and it looks really light, but it absolutely shows up on my skin tone. I do have it as a base today, but I did layer a powder blush over top. But this is absolutely beautiful and muted for spring. This one's very shimmery, and this one is matte, but maybe slightly luminous. So both good options, and spoiler alert, you're gonna be seeing a lot of pink today. Blush. I have one blush palette here, and you may remember that I shot my stash for the Anastasia Beverly Hills Radiant Blush Kit. And in my last Shop My Stash for March, good grief. And I actually found out that I feel like all of these are beautiful for spring. I'm definitely lean more towards this area for spring, although this one is really nice as well. This is probably my favorite one for spring, and again, I will have swatches up for you. But the thing I like about this palette, however, is that it's matte, but it is radiant. There's just a beautiful natural luminosity to the blushes in this palette, as well as the other ones that I'm going to speak on. I don't mind a luminosity when it comes to blush for spring, but I do prefer a matte or a luminous blush compared to a glowy blush, which is more what I lean towards in the summertime. For my other single blushes, I have 3. The first one is the number 7 powder blusher in the shade Damson Mist. I do have a little bit of this on the apples of my cheeks. Looks like this. This is a beautiful, I don't even know what I would call this, verging on fuchsia, but it's a very cool tone pink, and I think you will see that I leaned quite cool tone with most of my picks here. It's just something in my brain, how I think about spring, and I will go into that more when we talk about the palettes. But this is really beautiful, and it is a matte blush. The next blush is from Milani, and it is their powder blush. Beautiful. In Romantic Rose. I really like this blush. For me, it's almost a neutral blush, but it definitely leans pink. I did layer this from the temple and almost all the way down, and then I have the number 7 one on my cheekbones. Like I said, I tried to use as many of these products as possible, but this is a beautiful, beautiful blush for any time, but I specifically am excited to use it this spring. Again, this is a matte blush, but it just gives a beautiful, healthy, I just stepped out into the beautiful spring air flush to the cheeks. And then the last blush is also luminous, and it is my Hourglass Ambient Lighting Blush in the shade Diffused Heat. And this, like I said, is definitely luminous, but it's luminous in a way that it looks like luminous skin, not like a highlighter or a glowy blush. So I do really love this shade for spring. This is a very bubblegum, yeah, bubblegum, I guess. It's like a light bubblegum pink, but again, even though it's called Diffused Heat, I would say that this one with the shades swirled together looks like a cool tone pink. Next is highlighter, and I have 3. The first one, I was surprised when I swatched it out last night. I was like, yeah, this would be really great for spring, and it is the Hard Candy Just Glow Rose Gold highlighter. This was a gift from my girl Angela. You do have like a vanilla shade, a pink shade, and like a bronzy shade, and when you swirl them all together, they make a beautiful rose gold tone. But when you really buff it into the skin, it just gives a really natural glow to the cheekbones or wherever you put it, and I can't wait to use this more this spring. Next is the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Highlighting Powder in the shade Blossom Glow. This is the pink one. I have a little dip in the middle there because I love this highlighter. If I didn't already have highlight on and somewhere to be later today, I would demonstrate, but this is stunning. Definitely a frosty highlight, but wearable frosty, if that makes sense, and it buffs into the skin beautifully. It really melts in with your other makeup or into the skin or what have you, and it's stunning for spring. This is definitely one of my favorite highlighters in my collection, and it's beautiful. I'm sure a lot of you have this one. I'd love to know if you're going to be pulling it out for spring too. And then the highlighter I have on today was a suggestion from my girl Angela. It is the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector pressed in the shade Vanilla Quartz. Doesn't look like really anything in the pan, but hopefully I will have a good picture for you of a swatch. This is a beautiful vanilla shade highlighter, but it doesn't cause like a white stripe on your face. It again melts into the skin, and I would say that this has some pinky, peachy shift qualities to it as well. So I find it really versatile and especially wonderful for spring. So we definitely have some pink lippies here for you today. Like my obnoxious pink cup that my hubby bought me. He doesn't watch my videos, so I can tease all I want. Okay, so for spring, I think pink, obviously, but another thing I think of is very soft, somewhat sheer, just a variety of different pink lippies. So starting with a gloss, this is the Buxom Full On Lip Polish in the shade Sugar. This is beautiful. This is kind of a mauve-y pink, but it's not as mauve-y as, let's say, Dolly, which I have finished a little sample of. And I do like the formula on this one, but that's what she looks like right there. Beautiful, soft, rosy mauve, if you will. And then next for a sheer lip pick, I have, some of you may not be surprised, a L'Oreal Color Riche Shine in the shade Burnished Blush. This is beautiful. Look at that pink right there. And that's what she looks like. Whenever I do like a pastel or pinky look, I automatically think of this lipstick. It's very comfortable, more like a colored balm, but the pigment is definitely there to play, and I just love it. It's carefree. I can chuck it in my bag and reapply it on the go without a mirror or anything. It's a wonderful formula. I've talked about these many times. And then going into the soft pink, this is one, I don't even know what these are called. Ulta is really bad about labeling their lipsticks, but I will put the name and the shade on the screen. But this is, again, a beautiful, soft rose. This actually does have a shimmer quality to it, but it's in a way that's bonk. It's in a way that's very flattering and subtle. And this is just a beautiful, soft, mauve-y pink. Oh, my tummy's growling for spring. I love that one. I just wish Ulta would label their things better.
And then there, of course,
there is the lippy I'm wearing today. This is my signature color. It is the NARS Velvet Matte Lip Pencil in the shade Let's Go Crazy, which is a Prince song, and I'm a huge fan of Prince. Let me know if you are too. But I actually happen to think that this color works for every season. I probably wear it the least in the fall, just because I have other lip picks that I think are not more appropriate, just that I gravitate towards more so. But spring, summer, winter, I love this shade. If you're into a little bit bolder of a lip, I highly recommend this formula, as well as I highly recommend finding like a berry pink, fuchsia, magenta type shade, because this shade goes with so many looks, so many more looks than you could imagine. And I actually really like it with this minty green eye look today. And then I have two liquid lipsticks. These would be my picks if I was going out for the night or going somewhere where I want the lip to stay on and not have to fuss with it. And the first one comes from NYX. This is one of their soft matte lip creams, and this is in the shade Milan. This is like a really pretty bubblegum pink, again with the bubblegum. I must be craving bubble gum, but I just think that's really, really pretty. The soft matte lip creams from NYX are phenomenal and really, really comfortable. And then this is the Stila Stay All Day liquid lipstick in the shade Patina. Looks like this. And this is just a little bit deeper of a dusty rose mauve-y shade. Clearly I am really good at describing shades, but this is it right here, and I like this sort of dusty pink to pair with certain looks, especially I will explain further once we check out my eyeshadow picks. But before we talk eyeshadow palettes, I do have one liquid shadow. This was a gift from my girl Angela. Yes, she spoils me. The feeling is mutual. But this is the Stila Shimmer and Glow in the shade Carefree. I love that name because that is me in a nutshell. And this is like a really pretty warm pink with a gold reflect, almost to the point of looking a wee bit peachy, which I also love peach for spring. So that's that one. So yeah, looking forward to using that this spring as well. All right, the moment we've all been waiting for are my palette picks for spring. Now, the first two, like I said, I kind of wanted to explain a little bit. There's two sort of like spring color stories that I think of for spring. And that is sort of a grayish, muted, like grayed out pastel color story. It makes me think of this, you know, we have lots of spring rain and clouds and everything that is dead over the winter is coming back to life. So the first two palettes are in kind of that color story that I think of for spring. And the first one is the Patrick Star and MAC Stay With Me eyeshadow quad. I never use this, and I almost used it today, and then I changed my mind based on what I wanted to wear. But as you can see, these are definitely beautiful floral shades here, and I definitely think it's appropriate for spring. For me, this shade right here reminds me of orchids, and this reminds me of those first little hyacinths that come out of the ground. It's just beautiful. I just forget to reach for it. So I will definitely be doing a look with that this spring at least, which makes me want to ask you guys, I do plan to do these seasonally, like each season, but would you like a follow-up video where I show looks that I created with the palettes and the products in my capsule collection, or do you not care? And then the second palette that's sort of in that early spring color story for me is the Lorac California Dreaming palette. That sounded weird the way I said that, but this is exactly what I'm talking about. There's a lot of pastels in here, you know, save these two dark shades in here, which I don't mind, but these are beautiful, you know, muted pastel shades, and I think it's going to be phenomenal for spring. This was a gift from my sister Emma, and I love it. I love the Lorac formula. So, and next, this is kind of my neutral for spring palette. I believe I talked about this in my palette partner video where I used all of my ABH palettes, and I'm speaking about the Anastasia Beverly Hills Soft Glam palette. And some really may not think of this for spring, but I really do. Again, with the muted dusty pink, I love this sort of sherbety orange matte up here. I think these two golds, though I don't really prefer gold on my eyes, these are actually wearable to me, and they're very soft and smooth, and I think appropriate for spring. And then of course you have this beautiful shade right here called Rose Pink, yes. And then, you know, neutrals that you would need to set up a look with any of the shimmers. So we're gonna call this my neutral palette pick for spring. And then getting into the fun stuff for my colorful palettes, again, I have a second color story that I think of for spring. And again, this is like your more bright, like everything is blooming. Not quite bright to the point of summer colors, because when I think of bright colors, I definitely think of summer. But these are a little bit softer. Some of them are a little more grayed out or muted. And I think these are a couple of really good picks for spring. One is the Juvia's Place Deuce palette. I believe that's how you say it. Looks like this. Number one, I think these two shades absolutely would function as beautiful blushes for spring. But then you have the obvious candidates here, which is this shimmer and this shimmer. Obviously the mint green, which is what I have on my eyes today. Even this one comes off way lighter than what it looks like in the pan. So I think this is a beautiful palette for spring for any time. Of course, there are no rules in makeup. I'm just pulling the products today that make me immediately think spring and that I really want to make use of this spring. I'm very gestural today, aren't I? Anyhow, and then my fun palette for spring, of course, I partially used on my eyes today, and that is the Too Faced Clover palette. I love this palette. This definitely makes me think spring. All of it. Like I said, you got some muted tones in here. I used these two to set up my crease today. There's this one right here which swatches like garbage and really isn't wonderful, but that is that soft white highlight on the inner corner of my eyes today, and I love it. This is definitely a spring palette to me. Obviously it could be used anytime and especially during summer, but it makes me think spring. And that is it. I really hope you enjoyed this video and my spring makeup capsule collection picks. Like I said, I want to plan to do this seasonally, and let me know if you would like me to create some looks and do a follow-up video before I show my summer picks using the products that I showed you today. And with all of that said, I hope all of your makeup days are beautiful springtime makeup days. You knew that was coming. And I will see you in my next video soon.